Let me also welcome on board then Pankaj Pandey and analyze what he's expecting from the first quarter. Pankaj, hi, evening. Let's talk about financials. I was just chatting with Gautam about banks. In particular, especially given by the kind of surprisingly strong commentary that we've seen from the big boy, that's Bajaj Finance. You think business momentum is going to pick up strongly for the rest of the NBFC gamut as well, irrespective of the temporary halt amid the second wave?
Actually, I think on the banking and financial services side, I think whether it is bank or NBFCs, whosoever has got higher exposure towards MSMEs or SMEs have been impacted, and that is where the asset quality concerns is also sort of lingering on. So from that perspective, I think retail or especially retail overall as a business momentum looks good, because that is where the most of your private sector banks have been sort of focusing on. So I think within banks, we are expecting a sort of again a loan growth of 5 to 6 odd %, largely again because of the lockdown. And private banks have largely focused on two portfolios, which is your retail as well as agri. NIMs, largely we are expecting most of the NIMs to be sort of steady, largely because you'll see benefit of reversal, interest rate reversal. But that will be compensated by the incremental slippage, which is expected because of the COVID-2 lockdown. Then credit cost again is expected to remain at elevated levels. So largely I think private banks are expected to be slightly far more better compared to the rest of the pack. But in general, you can't really sort of distinguish or say that NBFCs which are retail focused will do badly. So anything, whether it is a bank or NBFC, if it is a retail focus, I think largely it is expected to do well, which is what I think Bajaj Finance commentary is also all about. So from that perspective, slicing needs to be done basis on the portfolio rather than classification being bank or NBFC.
Sure. Pankaj, what is it that we can expect from the healthcare universe? And I'm talking about the entire gamut here. You think US sales are going to moderate further? Having said that, can we see healthy momentum, cost savings, which are going to drive the domestic formulations performance going forward? And also given the market positioning already, which is extremely skewed all throughout last year up until now towards the pharma pack, where is it that there is scope for a big earnings revision or further headroom going forward?
So Aisha, on the pharma side, especially if you look at the big one pharma companies who have got a larger exposure towards the US side. So our sense is that the growth on the US portfolio could be in the range of mid-single digits, 5-6 odd %. But on the domestic side, the growth would be higher at about 20 odd %. Again, on a lower base. Margins are expected to be sort of stable for in general most of the pack. And profit-wise also you will see from a lower base, double-digit 18-19% kind of aggregate profit growth. But I think what I would want to probably highlight is something like Sun Pharma looks interesting. Our sense is that their revenues could go up by 19 odd %. Bottom line could be about healthy at about 30 odd %. I think what can happen or the upgrade can happen is as and when the India opens up, you will see a lot more planned approvals being happening or could happen, and that will sort of improve the product launches in the US, and that might sort of give the leg up or the momentum which is required by a lot of these tier 1 names who have got higher exposure towards US. I think that could drive the upgrade. But from the current quarter perspective, it is just that the lower base of domestic will help these companies to deliver 20% kind of growth. The US again is expected to be muted, but it could become a lot more brighter going forward as US is already unlocked and we are in the process of unlocking in some months. So that way, I think your generic pharma companies can witness an upgrade.
When it comes to the metals sector, Pankaj, while many believe that this is a super cycle that we're in, the long-term averages are still a little away from their previous peaks. The focus for metal companies has now shifted towards growth. while the deleveraging clearly continues for the sector. But can in the first quarter we see a material uptick for the stocks to get re-rated further?
So don't expect a material uptick in the overall trajectory, but we are still expecting EBITDA per ton for most of the companies, especially on the ferrous side, to be higher. I mean, to give you some color, overall healthy performance is expected, but I think what we have seen is that the realizations are up about 6 to 7,000 rupees per ton, whereas cost has only gone up by 2 to 3,000 rupees per ton. So effectively, from quarter-on-quarter basis, you will still see, say for example, Tata Steel doing about say 33,000 rupees per ton kind of EBITDA for domestic operations. Similarly, JSW could be doing somewhere about 24,000 rupees per ton, compared to nearly 19,700 odd crores what they did in a quarter before. And same is the case with SAIL as well. Largely because the metal prices are still high, whether you look at ferrous or non-ferrous side. And I think the outlook also is still a lot more brighter, because we still don't know what Russia is going to take in terms of steps. Because Russia, after China, is one of the biggest exporters. And so roughly they export nearly 30 million tons. Compared to that, we are a sort of a net exporter of only 5 to 6 million tons. So if they put on some duty, then I think this structural momentum or uptick in the metal as an entire pack would continue. But you're not we are not expecting that kind of outsized gains what we have seen earlier, because largely I think a lot of there is in the prices. But they still make a decent risk reward. From a risk reward perspective, they are still sort of quite well placed. So I think they are still a buy, despite the fact that in the last 1 or 2 months, we are seeing more of a sideways movement from the metal as a pack.
Right. Pankaj, what happens to oil and gas at a time when crude is already back at $77 to a barrel, and who knows, maybe elevated levels further? You think one can expect better results for OMCs? GAIL could have higher margins, or would it going to be continue to be the crude sensitives, your ONGC as well as Oil India, which are going to top when it comes to earnings? And on the other hand, gas companies, which in any case have delivered an excellent previous quarter as well, will they continue the momentum going into first quarter as well?
So largely, I think the outlook looks better for downstream or upstream companies, largely because of the fact that in Q4 also we have seen quite a healthy sort of outperformance from whatever numbers we had penciled in. Largely in Q4 we have seen the crude sort of rallied nearly 36% from the quarter before to about 61 barrels, and now again the crude has rallied nearly more than 10 barrels per in this particular quarter as well. So obviously the scope for inventory gains is definitely there for downstream companies and also for upstream companies, because of the higher prices and the volumes are not going up. But I think all this is, so this does not really move the mountain for the entire upstream or downstream companies. I think gas as a segment is a lot more structurally positive compared to the upstream or downstream companies. So which is where I think one should focus. And I think we like city gas distribution companies a lot more compared to the typical gas companies. So I think that is where in general structurally one should be looking at. But yes, number wise, yes, since the crude is still sort of on a upward trajectory, like Q4, even in Q1, the upstream and downstream companies might come up with or could deliver a good set of numbers. And mind you, we are still not seeing the improvement in GRMs, which is expected to sort of happen as and when the demand keeps picking up. So Aisha, from that perspective, I think gas is only a sort of a segment what investors can look at. I think upstream and downstream companies are more appealing from a trading perspective.
So good to chat with you today. Thanks as always for taking the time out.
Thank you so much.
In fact, we're out of time on this special earnings coverage right here on ET Now. We're going to wind it up on that note.